Over your lifetime, how much of your salary have you kept? It's a big question and the answer has a lot of implications. Have you wasted hundreds of thousands of pounds over the years? Have you managed to convert much of what you've earned into assets?
If your goal is financial freedom like ours is, maybe you could be further along the path than what you are today if you'd made a point of keeping more of what you made. The average worker will earn well over £1 million in a lifetime, and yet most people struggle to get by.
Does it really cost over £1 million to provide food and shelter for a few decades? Probably not if you stop and think about it. So how much of your salary have you kept? Let's check it out.
Welcome to Unshackled.com, the investing and finance channel and website that sets you and your finances free.
That was Andy and I'm Ben, and if you like what we say, hit the like button and click subscribe. First, a special shout out to Moneyfarm who are sponsoring this video. Moneyfarm is an FCA regulated digital wealth manager with 50,000 active investors and over £1 billion invested on the platform. And performance of their top portfolio has achieved almost 9% annually.
Rated excellent on Trustpilot, with Moneyfarm you can invest through a pension, ISA or a general account. And Moneyfarm will give you the first month free when you sign up via our link. You'll find the offer link in the video description and on the Money Unshackled offers page, linked below. Now let's get into the video.
Why it's important to consistently keep money. Work is hard. It's a struggle that you have to keep getting up for day after day, week after week, month after month, and you should want to have something to show for all that effort. For us, it's the knowledge that for every hour of work that we do, we continue to get paid after we've earned it indefinitely.
We're talking, of course, about investing what we keep. For any money that you're able to keep from your job and invest, you'll continue to make money from it for the rest of your life. It's the work once, get paid forever mindset that eludes so many people, many of whom work every day and spend every penny.
It's also important from a practical standpoint to keep more of what you earn. The state pension is by no means guaranteed for our generation. Planning for retirement used to be a breeze. Invented in 1880 by the Germans, the state pension meant people could stop working at age 70, having kept nothing of what they'd earned and still be supported for life by the state. This worked well for the Treasury because back then the average person died at age 38.
State pensions have got less generous with time. It's incredibly costly for the government to maintain, and this cost is rising rapidly as people are living longer. By the time we're pensioners, we're expecting it to be means tested, available only to the very poorest of people.
Your human capital. We're going to work out what your value is as a money producing asset. This is your human capital, what your time and energy has been worth over your working life. You might be annoyed with yourself at just how much money you've let slip away. Perhaps with little to show for it in way of savings, investments and wealth, but it's been largely beyond your control, as we'll soon show. As an employee, the deck is stacked against you, but we'll get to how you can reshuffle it to your advantage soon.
We're not minimalists like much of the FI community are, but while our focus is on growing our wealth, it's still true that we should be setting aside as much of it as possible. That excess money should be being made to work hard for us as financial capital through our investments, so our human capital can put its feet up.
How much have you kept? Some money has entered your life. Quite a lot of it has left. What you have kept, your net worth, is what you have to show for all your efforts. Your net worth is the value of your assets minus all debt, except UK student loan debt, which works more like a tax. Most people have very little savings. The average 40-year-old only has £6,000 set aside, and only 4% of UK citizens invest in a stocks and shares ISA.
It should be fairly easy to work out the value of all of your financial assets. Your cash, your bank and savings accounts, and the current values of your stocks, bonds, investment property, commodities, plus your private pensions and any other investments. We looked at the average net worth in the UK and its component parts in this episode, linked to below, which showed that around 1 in 5 households shockingly have a negative financial wealth with more debt than they have cash or investments. In purely money terms, these people have sadly wasted every one of their countless work hours with less than nothing to show for it. Around the same number of households have no private work pensions either.
The ONS includes the value of all your assorted junk in their definition of net worth too. Your car, your phone, laptops and everything that's not nailed down in your house. But we know better. These things are all expenses. Your wealth is no more securely stored in them than it would be by just leaving cash lying around in the street.
The only physical possessions that represent money kept are items that hold their value, like jewellery and art and your house, which you can include at market value minus the outstanding mortgage.
How much have you earned in your life? So, you can easily add up how much you've kept, but how much did you earn in the first place? For most people, what they've kept will be a joke compared to what they've made. Outgoings have a nasty habit of catching up with income.
Here's a very, very rough approximation of your total take-home pay during your career, depending on years' worth and headline salary, after deducting tax and student loans, assuming you're employed. There's some pretty chunky numbers there. If you've averaged a 35 grand salary over 15 years, you'll have had around 400 grand enter your bank account. Where's that money now? How does it compare to the amount you've kept, your money, investments and property?
If you do have investment income alongside a job, don't include it in this exercise. Hopefully you're reinvesting all of that anyway if you're still working. And we're just interested in how your blood, sweat and tears from time served toiling the mine, so to speak, translates into saved wealth.
The question reworded, how much have you spent? Here's what we think a fairly typical 30-year-old's workings might look like. Their after-tax salary, averaging £27,500 over 10 hard years of slog in the office, has brought home £222,000 of bacon. A 30-year-old might have just climbed onto the property ladder with their partner in an entry-level home with claim to half of it, offset by a hefty mortgage of course.
They'll likely have a small cash buffer and hopefully the beginnings of an investment portfolio if they're sensible. Their workplace pensions will have started to build, if only at a snail's pace, and more than likely they'll have some credit card debt too, hopefully at 0% interest.
This person would have held on to 30 grand of the money that they earned, the rest having gone up in a puff of smoke. Total spending on expenses over the decade was £192,000.
Wow, it's expensive being human. And to think my cat needs less than £5 a week to live the dream life. 192 grand translates to £1,700 per month. It's not unreasonable to think that at least some of this could be directed towards investments each month instead.
What you really make from your job. That imaginary worker at 27.5k a year gross salary has a take-home pay of £430 a week. But he doesn't really make £430. There are a whole bunch of work-related expenses that are only incurred as a result of having the job.
So how much of your income gets lost on maintaining a job? Here's a reasonable example inspired by the book Your Money or Your Life by Vicky Robin. You should knock off an amount for your commute, your petrol, the wear and tear on your car, train fare, and the coffee you need to buy en route to make the journey bearable.
Then there's your slave uniform, the clothes you only bought because you were forced to in order to comply with your job's rules or culture. Do you sit at your home computer in a full suit and tie? Probably not, but you might need to in the office.
You'll likely spend more on food when you're at work. Those pret-a-mangers soon add up. And the stress of work likely means you need more escapism, with extra holidays and meals out in the evenings to make up for the life you've not been living during the day.
And maybe those long hours sitting at a desk are having health impacts that must be remedied with fitness classes and visits to the gym. We can see that about a quarter of this guy's earnings have gone on maintaining his job. £120 a week adds up to £62,000 over 10 years.
How to keep more of what you earn. Number 1. Slash the biggest cost. The largest controllable cost that you likely have as an employee is your job maintenance cost. It might be unreasonable to cut your rent or reduce your basic standard of living, but those job costs could be mostly eliminated by a permanent move to home working.
Working from home removes the need for a commute, for a slave uniform, for expensive lunches, and getting rid of the commute alone will probably reduce the need for stress-induced spending splurges and benefit your health by reducing the time you're sitting in a vehicle each day. Much of the country worked from home during 2020 and witnessed these improvements for themselves. It might be in your financial interest to keep this trend going if you can negotiate it.
Number 2. Think in terms of hours lost. Think of your outgoings in terms of the hours taken to earn it. Do this thought exercise before every purchase and allow your default response to be to invest that money instead. But you don't just work 40 hours a week. All those job costs have a cost in time too, as well as possibly needing extra sleep on the weekends and time to recover from illness from overwork. For this example employee, every £1 spent represents 15 minutes of their life that they had to sacrifice. Or put another way, every hour nets them just £4. Is that new BMW worth 7,000 work hours?
Break the time link. Your job probably pays you far less than what you're worth. Are you willing to keep trading your time for a pittance an hour? We weren't, so we decided to start earning our money via an asset instead, rather than a salary, by which we mean a business that we own.
Every hour of work that you put into your business makes it a more efficient and money-making machine for you, with efforts increasing scale and value locked in and built on. You can't do this as easily with a salary.
Question of the day. What's your age and how much of your salary have you kept? Let us know down in the comments. Thanks for watching! On this channel we talk a lot about personal finance, investing and all things money. And if you want to see more great content, please click the subscribe button below.
This is moneyunshackled.com. See you next time.